What's up, my people? Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good evening, good day to you, wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. So, starting the Speaking Space podcast video edition, we're going to move this a little ways and we'll move those over so that way you can see those in the picture as well. But welcome to the Speaking Space video podcast. I've been doing an audio podcast for a little over a year now and got some knowledge and new technology, and I want to take it to the next level because I think this is what I'm here to do: have conversations, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So, welcome to the video portion. As I get used to this, we'll work through it together, and here we go. So, actually, here we grow. So, yeah, today's episode is just kind of like a little impromptu. I'm just testing things out, and I want to make sure the audio is all good and the video, and I learn how to upload all this stuff and get it done correctly before my next guest next Saturday. So, I'm going to have a gentleman on that I've been following for a long time online. I just somehow connected with him. I don't remember how, but we connected through social media. His name is Ron Millward, and I'm excited to talk to this guy. He is a stand-up dude, from what I know. Excited to have a conversation and learn more about Ron, but I can just tell from the things that he does and the person that he is, he's somebody that I'm going to be really excited to talk to. So I'm just testing things out, making sure we got all this stuff sounding good and looking good and appropriate for the video podcast. So today, kind of what's on my mind is mental health. I believe September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and that's something that hits home for me. Um, so, I I love to encourage this type of stuff and conversations about it. And one of the ways I do that is through social media interaction and this podcast. And I posted a question on social media about I just asked, why is the suicide rate so high? I got some interesting answers. I got a couple messages from people that I think didn't want to share their own thoughts in a public space, which is fine. I totally get it because mental health, suicide, having thoughts like that, it's not easy to talk about. I believe, this is just my own personal opinion, I believe that more people have them than admit it, whether that's the thought of actually doing it or just the thought cross your mind, like, you know FML, hate my life, and you know it's not a bad thing to have. You're not a bad person for having those thoughts. Um, for myself, at least, I was in a really dark place. A lot of it was self-sabotage. I was um, not acting the way that I should. I was really being the victim of it all. Now, there's some other things that went into that. Environmental circumstances, I think some post-traumatic brain injury early as a kid, some self-induced stuff as well. So, stress. I think there was a few things that led to that moment for me. But even, even in my state today where I feel as mentally strong as I ever have, I I have bad days where my thoughts are very negative, especially the other day. Um, I don't drink alcohol on a regular basis. I rarely drink it at all. I used to drink it a lot, but last weekend during the holiday, I had a few beers, and I had one too many, in a sense of not being out of control that day, but the next day, um, I wasn't physically sick. I felt great, but I noticed my thoughts and the way I felt, and my mental stability was all over the place. Very dark, very negative thoughts. I wasn't. I was feeling very self. I had a lot of self doubt that day, wondering if what I'm doing is right in life. I'm like, where is this coming from? Which is a valuable thought. However, when it impedes on your ability to enjoy your day or, do the next task or focus on something, like that's a problem. And so it still happens. I'm just very conscious and aware of when those times happen for me and um, what I do to get through them. So I don't think there's a way out of them. I think that's kind of like trying to calm water with a flat iron, like you're just gonna make it even worse. But I think you work through them and determine, where those thoughts are coming from. So I post questions on my Facebook because I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious about how humans are interacting, how people are behaving today, um, how I interact with those interactions because, that's a growing point for me. Um, so the question, why is the suicide rate so high, resulted in a lot of different answers. Not one of them said social media, which I thought was interesting. So it doesn't seem like social media is getting the blame. It could have been that I was on social media asking that question. So there's that. Um, but a couple individuals pointed out that some of this is coming from a, I believe the word fascist regiment and point of view, um, is leading to some of the increase in suicide. Particularly, just for this example, a couple of people that were named were Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate. I love Jordan Peterson. I also enjoy Andrew Tate. I don't know much about him. I think his overall message is you've got to be strong and get out there and stick up for yourself and um, demand what you want out of life. Anything outside of that, I don't think much of what he does. Andrew Tate specifically, I do like his motivation and enthusiasm and drive. He's an athlete, um, so he trains, and I love that about him. I listen to his stuff, but I don't listen to his stuff as much as I listen to, or not even close at all, as Jordan Peterson. And the the point that was brought up was that Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate contribute to the the downfall of young men in a way of like being an alpha male. And I don't think Jordan Peterson pushes being an alpha male at all. Um, Matter of fact, you put him in the room with Joe Rogan, and one might say, I think most people would agree that Rogan would be the alpha male in that room. Jordan is very intellectually talented, but I don't think he's by any means an alpha male. And I learned a lot from him. I mean, I was at a point where, you know, I was cheating, I was lying. I never really stole much. There were a couple things that I stole, but um, as far as materialistic things, but I was not being a good human being. I I was living a fast life. Like I really didn't know any better. Um, and no one really came to me and was like, "Yo, this is not the way you should be living." I got in trouble a few times, and I was like, "Yo, something's got to change." And so I started seeking out individuals online that had a powerful presence. Jordan Peterson happened to be one of those. And, the first thing that I learned from him was sit on the edge of your bed and ask yourself, what is one thing that I'm doing that is just so like demonstrably dumb that just need to stop doing that. Like, or one thing that I should do that I know I should do that I'm not doing. And if you sit on the edge of your bed when you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself these types of questions, like you'll get an answer. Just like Peterson says, like you will get an answer and it won't be one that you want. Like it'll be one that you have to work for. Jordan's also very much into the Bible, you know, and what he preaches a great message on like the story of the crucifixion and how we're all sacrificing something for the greater good of your family, yourself, um, whatever your meaning is to this life. It's sacrifice. This life is hard, and when you find meaning through sacrifice, through discipline, through dedication, it really it really fires up your life. I felt like I was at a point where I had no drive, I had no ambitions, I had no goals. Um, I had zero like end goal on my like map of life. I had nothing. I just thought like I was just gonna keep living just day after day. And I don't know, I didn't even think about death really, even though I was putting myself in a lot of dangerous situations. I never really thought about death and it didn't matter to me at all. I was literally just living for like that day. And it led to a really, really dark place where I was like, 30 and I was like, what am I doing with my life? You know, what is all this for? And I found meaning through folks like Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, um, Jason Wilson. There are so many others that I'm not thinking of right now. David Goggins, Cameron Haynes, Andrew Tate. I mean, so many people that I don't know much when it comes to the term fascism or some of this other ideology that's out there. I don't I don't really care about it, to be honest, because I mean, yes, I do care about it in a sense that I know it exists, but like I don't think it exists in those people. I don't think they're fascists at all. Um, I don't think that any of those people have really contributed to the major increase of mental illness and suicide. I do see some of their point though, because I think anything that is a good thing in excess can be a bad thing. So I get that. I don't know if that was the point they were trying to make at all, but that's all I know to say. Jordan Peterson is somebody that absolutely changed my life, told me to stand up straight, speak confidently, you know, stand up with your shoulders straight. When you meet somebody, shake their hand, don't lie. And if you do lie, be honest about it. Um, I mean, just ground rules. And his 12 rules of life, his book is awesome. So as far as my own opinion on it, I think there are a lot of things that are contributing to the mental illness in this country. The amount of depression that's going on, the amount of suicide that's happening. I think there are multiple factors. I don't think it's a one size fits all. I don't think there's a one size fits all to fix it all either. I think it's a multi-step plan. Um, and if you break it down, you can get there. Um, but I think social media in a way has impacted it. Um, I'm not really sure if I believe the same things that the mainstream would about comparison, because I feel like that's almost an interpersonal thing more than a social media thing. So like I look at social media all day. I mean, I use it as a tool to, to get through the times in my boring times through the day. I use it to entertain myself. I use it to reach out to people. So I use social media in all different types of ways that benefit my mental health. And I see people on there that have a lot more than me. And I used to, I used to really compare myself, and I still do it sometimes, but I don't let it take root in me, because you never know what somebody did to get whatever they've got. You don't know how bad their life is outside of that camera. Um, so you don't know. It could be fake. It could be borrowed. Um, could be rented. You know, when it comes to like cars and houses and stuff. Like, can't believe everything that you see on social media at all. So I've kind of taken that rule into account when I'm looking at things. Like, sure, you don't want to compare yourself to somebody in a sense to make you feel like you should be further along in life. But also, it's good to compare people. Like, if you see like a family having fun, on social media, like that should, at least for me, that should influence and inspire you to go out and do the same. Go out, have fun with your family. Like, go take some pictures. Like, it's a lot of fun to do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. There's again, there's always like too much is too much, and I get that. Like, you can't just be there like snapping pictures the entire time. Like, you want to enjoy the moment too. So there's a little bit of balance in there. But I'm not on the team of like being mad at people that post like just good stuff, because why would you be mad at that? But social media, I feel like it has influenced the rate, but it's not the like smoking gun in the whole fight. One thing that I've become more conscious of, I mean, I've been doing it for years now, but is nutrition. Nutrition is probably the biggest thing when it comes to mental health. I mean, if you don't have a solid foundation of nutrition, you are not feeding your body the right chemical, not chemicals, but the right nutrients to function properly. And a thought I've been having lately, which I'm very grateful for medicine and my position that I'm in today with my mental state, but sometimes I wish that I had known more about nutrition, I had known more about physical exercise, I had known more about some alternative medications before I tried SSRIs, because now it's so hard to get off of them that it's not even worth it to get off of them. It's literally debilitating. So, and I've tried a couple of times. So, it's life is way better on them now, which they are a tool that I use to increase my mental health and help me enjoy the day. But sometimes I do wish that I would have cleaned up my diet, um, put more focus on physical health and not drinking alcohol before I got on, you know, SSRIs, because now it's almost impossible to get off. So there's that. Um, but nutrition. So I feel compelled lately. I feel like there's a big push in nutrition with, what people are eating. We've had some stuff in the family change recently with health, and My father-in-law is making all kinds of changes to his diet, and my mother-in-law. So good job, you guys. I'm proud of you. Um, and my wife shared with them this app that we use called Yucca, and it basically shows you like the quality of the food that you're ingesting. It does everything. Um, you know, bathroom products, all kinds of stuff, and it tells you the scale in which is it harmful or unharmful. Um, you try it. Try it if you are ready to throw out your entire house. Now, if you eat whole foods and healthy, then you might be good. But if you eat a lot of processed foods, if it's actually kind of fun to see what you think is healthy and it's not. They do a good job of marketing and advertising on that stuff. Oh, it's zero sugar, but it's full of freaking chemicals that you can't even pronounce. That's supposed to be your food. Anyway, nutrition. So I think that plays big into the mental health thing. Environment. Uh, that's another big one. Um, I think the spike has happened recently with COVID. When that all happened, I mean, mental health rates, suicide, depression went through the roof. The first big indication was the invention of the iPhone, and that's provable. There's somebody's mapped it all out. He was on Rogan. Can't remember who it was, but the first spike was social media or the invention of the iPhone. Psh, skyrocketed. And then another bump happened with COVID. You had people literally, well, locked in their homes first. Secondly, forced to take an experimental vaccine that was emergency authorized to create an entire new platform. That's about all I'm going to speak on because that's all I know. And everything shut down. And now we are finding out that that was not good. There are people dying daily because of this. People's mental health are still messed up. But I think the biggest factor of it all is our ability to trust because we had the daddy of our family, the government, the highest officials telling us, you have to take this and it won't hurt you, which they knew was a lie. They had no idea. And now they're telling us like an opposite story. We're hearing so many mixed different waves from dad. Like, and when you're in a family, like, dad is who you look up to. Dad is who you're supposed to trust, mom and dad. Completely lied to us. And I really think that messed with some people and started to uncover some other things. I could go on about that one. Like how can we trust how can we trust the government when all this stuff is coming out now? Like, so now what do we do? And I think there's a coalition of people that are gaining momentum to get this country back. So I think COVID had a huge impact on suicide rate. I think I think people are financially, I don't know if underwater is the right word, but drowning right now. I know that the cost of groceries is up, the cost of everything is up. I rent apartments for a living. The cost of an apartment is unbelievable. I really don't know how people make it. I don't. And I feel like it's no longer one of those things like work harder. Like, sure, yeah, there's other streams of income, like do something else, sure. That is becoming even harder now to keep up. I keep seeing like, average what the average like median of what it takes to live comfortably. It's like $100,000 a year. And I mean it's getting up there. I mean the average price of a house has like tripled within the last few years. Groceries, all of it is tripled, except for our pay, which I don't understand that. I just hope and pray that it does. And people are just, they're at their wits' end. I mean, you can't financially make it. It's very hard to do that now. If you do financially make it, like you barely have enough to, live. You're either working all the time, not seeing your family, not having like extracurricular fun. You're just working all the time. And that's really no way to live because you're not really living, you're just working. And I don't really even have it that bad. I mean, there's people that are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make paycheck to paycheck. Like, my personal feeling on it is and I don't know how this would ever, shape out, but, like, if you work 40 hours a week, like, no matter what you do, no matter what position you hold, no matter what, like, you should get a livable wage, and the livable wage needs to change. Like, yeah, there should be, like, no cap, like, when it comes to income, like, if you're a business owner, like, you should be able to make whatever you wanna make, but people need to live too, and it's hard to do that right now. Everybody's struggling. I don't know. I think it's a few things. We don't know who to trust. We don't know what to eat. We don't know what to do with ourselves. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say most, but maybe if you look at some Americans these days, I mean, we're literally just working to survive. I saw a funny TikTok the other day where a older generation cartoon was talking to like a younger, I don't know, Gen Z or millennial or I don't know all the generations, but the youngest ones. And the youngest one was like, "Why would I want to do what you want to do? You literally work yourself to death. You spend no time with your family. You have no hobbies. You don't do anything, and you're still broke. Why would I want to spend my energy on that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." And I think that's a good point. It's tough. Everybody has an opinion these days. It's so easy to give your opinion. And I just don't know. I don't know if I even know the half of it. I don't know what goes on in schools. I'm gonna find out here soon. But I don't know what goes on in schools. I don't know what the kids are doing day to day. I don't know. I'm not in a college. I don't know what the professors are teaching. I'm not in the government. I don't know what these agencies are doing. I'm not like a police officer. I'm not in the streets. I don't know what's going on out there. But there's just some really like chaotic things going on in various parts of this world right now. I think people are just hurting. We're all hurting and searching. It's like it's right here. It's right in front of you. It's you. I really wouldn't care if I had all the money in the world. I don't really think I would want that type of responsibility. I think the wage that I make has actually done me a lot of good as far as, not losing control of life. So I actually think it's helped me in a lot of ways. But it's really tough. Yeah, it's really tough out there, and suicide rates are high, and it's a problem. I just, if you've ever thought that, it's okay. Um, I'd love to talk to you. I know that I was in a pretty dark place, wasn't really contributing much to my own well being and goals. There were other things that I did that helped my mental health, got off of some medication, started figuring out what to and what not to put in my body, and really straightened my head out, really straightened my thoughts out. So I think it's a few different things. I don't have an exact answer, but I know it's possible. I know it's possible. So I think that's good enough for today. All right. I'm excited for our guest next week, and I'm excited to get this uploaded and see what you guys think about the video. I'd love to know your thoughts on why you think the suicide rate is higher than it's ever been. I looked at some statistics. I think there's a suicide, um, one in every 11 minutes these days. Yikes. So there's that. There's help. You've moved mountains before, you can do it again, and they're going to keep coming. So stand up straight, put your shoulders back, be confident, believe in you, because that's where it starts. I'll see you guys on the next one.